What if I told you that the biggest mystery in Outlander Season 8 might not be about time travel, battles, or even the Frasers' survival, but about a baby we lost seasons ago? The new trailer for Episode 1 has sparked a wave of theories, and fans can't stop asking the same question. Is Faith Fraser finally making her presence known? This isn't just about a ghost from the past. It's about a hidden piece of the Fraser story that could change the way we see Claire, Jamie, and even the ending of Outlander and Deer. To understand why Faith is such a powerful part of the Outlander story, we have to go back to Paris in Season 2. Claire and Jamie were living in France, trying to stop the Jacobite rebellion before it destroyed Scotland. But during that time, Claire became pregnant with their first child. They named her Faith. For Jamie and Claire, this baby was not just a child, but a symbol of hope, of love, and of the future they were fighting so hard to protect. But the story took a tragic turn. Claire suffered complications, and despite her desperate fight to bring her child into the world, Faith did not survive. That moment was one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire series. Viewers still talk about it years later because of how raw, emotional, and unforgettable it was. We saw Claire holding her lifeless daughter, grieving in silence, and that image burned itself into the memory of every Outlander fan. Faith never grew up. She never got to laugh, run, or live the life her parents dreamed of. And yet her presence has always lingered in the background of the show. She became more than just a baby who died. She became a shadow, a reminder, and a missing piece in the Fraser family's history. Every time we see Claire holding Bree or Jamie watching their grandchildren, there is always the silent thought, Faith should have been here too. This is why Faith's name still carries so much weight. She represents not just loss, but also love for Claire. Faith's death marked the beginning of a lifetime of grief, but also resilience. It shaped who Claire became, how she saw the world, and how she chose to keep fighting for her family despite unbearable pain. For Jamie, though he rarely speaks about Faith, we know the silence carries its own story. A father who never got to hold his first daughter. A man who hides that wound deep inside. The reason fans are buzzing about Faith again now is because of the small but powerful hints dropped in the Season 8 trailer. We see Claire, haunted by whispers, memories, and flashes of faces that don't belong to the present. For many, this feels like Faith reaching across time, reminding us that her story is not over. And if Outlander is truly about family, love, and the legacy we leave behind, then Faith's mystery might be the final key that ties it all together. The Season 8. Episode 1 trailer wastes no time in setting the tone. From the very first frame, we know we are stepping into a darker, more emotional chapter of Outlander. This isn't just another season, it's the beginning of the end. The trailer doesn't shout this with big action scenes right away. Instead, it whispers it through mood, through imagery, and through subtle moments that tell us the Frasers' journey is heading toward its most emotional test yet. We see Claire and Jamie, older now, carrying the weight of everything they have lived through. Their faces tell stories before a single word is spoken. The lines of time, the scars of battle, the shadows of grief, they are all there. This isn't the fiery young couple we met in the early seasons. These are two people who have endured wars, loss, separation, and unimaginable sacrifice. Yet, even as the trailer shows their weariness, it also shows their unshakable bond. Claire and Jamie are still the heart of this story. Their love remains the anchor for everything around them. But here's where it gets interesting. The trailer isn't just about their love story. It's about echoes from the past, unanswered. Questions and mysteries that refuse to stay buried. Quick flashes show us scenes that feel dreamlike, whispers in the dark, a child's voice, shadows moving where no one should be. These are not the kinds of images you include in a trailer without purpose. They are meant to make us stop, to think, and to wonder who or what is reaching out across time. And for many fans, those whispers immediately bring Faith Fraser to mind, beyond the mystery. The trailer also paints the larger picture of Season 8. We get glimpses of Brianna and Roger, her children, and their struggle to balance family with the dangers of time travel. We see tension building in the wider world, with threats that could tear the Frasers' legacy apart. And in between all of this, there are fleeting shots of tenderness, Jamie holding Claire's hand. Claire staring into the distance, as though she is listening to something only she can hear. These moments carry weight because they are layered. The audience knows this isn't just about survival anymore. It's about legacy. It's about endings. It's about tying together a story that has spanned centuries. And while most trailers lean on action to grab attention, this one leans on emotion. Every beat, every line of dialogue, and every frame feels like it was chosen to remind us this is the final chapter. The stakes aren't just about who lives or dies. The stakes are about what kind of mark the Frasers leave behind. And if Faith's presence, whether real, imagined, or symbolic, is part of that mark, then it makes sense that the trailer would be filled with these haunting, quiet hints. What really stands out is the contrast. One moment we're shown the chaos of war drums, soldiers, and rising conflict. The next, silence, just Claire's voiceover, soft and filled with emotion. That silence is where the mystery of Faith slips in. A whisper in the middle of battle, child's cry echoing through the stillness. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And it sets the stage for fans to question not just what's happening in the plot, but what's happening beyond the surface. The trailer, at its core, tells us two things. First, that Season 8 will push the Frasers to their limits. Second, that the past is not done with them. Whether it's through memories, visions, or supernatural echoes, the past is reaching out. And in that past lies Faith. Every Outlander trailer has that one moment that fans can't stop replaying. In the Season 8, Episode 1 trailer, it's the brief but chilling scene where Claire seems to hear or sense something that doesn't belong to the present. It happens so quickly that if you blink, you might miss it, but for longtime fans, it stands out as one of the most important clues. Claire is standing still, her face caught between fear and wonder, as if she is listening to something no one else can hear. The screen shifts, the sound lowers, and then there it is, faint, distant echo, the voice of a child. Now, the trailer doesn't tell us who that child is. It doesn't show us a face. But that's the beauty of it. It leaves space for us to wonder, and that's where Faith Fraser's name comes rushing back. Never been shy about weaving supernatural elements into its story. We've seen ghosts, visions, and echoes of the future before. So, when a mysterious child's voice reaches Claire in this trailer, it doesn't feel like an accident. It feels like the show is deliberately pulling at a thread it left untied back in Season 2. Look closely at how the scene is framed. Claire isn't surrounded by noise or chaos. She isn't in battle or arguing or working on a medical emergency. She's in silence with her guard down, vulnerable. This is when she hears it, the faintest whisper, if you watch her eyes. There's a flicker of recognition, as though she knows exactly what or who she's hearing. For a woman who has carried the grief of losing Faith for decades, that sound would cut deeper than any blade. Some fans argue this could simply be a dream or a metaphor, a way for the writers to show Claire's inner thoughts. But Outlander rarely throws in these kinds of moments without purpose. Remember when Frank saw the ghost of Jamie in the very first episode? The time it felt like a strange little mystery? Years later, it became one of the most important clues about the way time and destiny work in this universe. That's why many fans believe this scene with Claire and the child's voice is more than just emotion. It could be another piece of the time puzzle. Imagine what it means if the voice is Faith. It doesn't mean Faith has suddenly come back to life in the traditional sense. Instead, it suggests that the boundary between past, present, and future is thinner than we realize. Faith's existence, though brief, could still echo through time. And perhaps, in this final season, those echoes will finally reach Claire in ways she can't ignore. The scene is powerful because it gives us a window into Claire's deepest wound. She has lost so much in her life, but the loss of Faith is the one that has never been healed. No amount of time, no number of children or grandchildren could erase the memory of that first daughter. In this moment, as the trailer shows, that grief may finally be resurfacing, not as silent pain, but as a voice calling from across the years. It's haunting. It's heartbreaking. It's exactly the kind of storytelling Outlander excels at. The mysterious scene doesn't just tease drama for episode 1, it sets up the possibility that Faith's presence will play a role in the entire season. Whether as a vision, a dream, or a supernatural connection, the mystery of Faith may finally demand to be answered. If there's one thread that has defined Claire Fraser's life, it's loss. She has lived through wars, separations, betrayals, and heartbreaks, but none of these cut as deeply as the loss of her first daughter, Faith, and the Season 8 trailer seems determined to bring that wound back to the surface. We see Claire in moments of reflection, staring into the distance, her eyes filled with something heavier than fear. It's not the look of a woman preparing for battle, it's the look of a mother carrying a grief that never left her. Faith has always been a silent presence in Claire's journey, though the show doesn't remind us of her often. Every choice Claire makes as a mother, as a healer, as a woman, carries the shadow of Faith. When she fought for Brianna, we felt Faith in the background. When she raised her grandchildren, we sensed the ache of what she lost. And in Season 8, the trailer hints that Faith will no longer remain a hidden ache. She will step into the light as part of Claire's emotional reckoning. There's a particular shot in the trailer that fans have already dissected. Claire sits alone, candlelight flickering across her face, and she whispers words that are almost too soft to catch. It looks like she's speaking to someone who isn't there. Some fans think she could be talking to Jamie, or remembering a past conversation, but others believe she's talking to Faith, a mother speaking across the divide, finally giving voice to the grief she's held inside for so long. It's a haunting image, but it's also deeply human. Outlander has always balanced history and fantasy with raw emotion, and this is one of those moments that feels like it could break every viewer's heart. Claire's emotional journey in this final season is not just about surviving another war or fighting another battle. It's about healing. Healing wounds that have been buried since Paris. Healing from decades of carrying pain in silence. And healing through the recognition that every loss, no matter how long ago, still shapes the person she has become. Trailer seems to tell us that Claire will finally confront Faith not in anger. It's not in despair, but in love. And this makes sense. Outlander has always been about family. Every season brings the Frasers together or pulls them apart, but the core message remains: love survives time. If love can cross centuries, if Jamie's ghost could reach Claire before they even met, then why couldn't Faith's love echo across the years as well? For Claire, hearing her daughter's voice, even faintly, would not just reopen a wound, it could also bring closure. It could remind her that Faith's life, however brief, still mattered. Still matters now, as the family faces its final chapter. The trailer gives us small but powerful glimpses of this journey. Claire walking through the woods, pausing as though she feels someone near, Claire at Lelybrock, touching the walls as if the house itself is whispering memories back to her. And Claire, holding Jamie's hand tighter than ever, as though grounding herself in the love that has carried her through it all. These aren't just random images. They're storytelling tools, preparing us for Claire's emotional arc, a mother who has given so much, but who still needs to reconcile with the child she lost. What makes this so powerful is that it's not just about Claire. Her emotional journey is the heartbeat of the show. When Claire breaks, we break. When she heals, we heal. And if the trailer is hinting that Faith will be part of Claire's healing, then we are in for one of the most emotional storylines Outlander has ever given us. It's not about rewriting the past, it's about finding peace in it. And for Claire, that peace may finally come through the voice of her daughter. When we think of Faith, most of us remember Claire's heartbreak. We remember her pain, her grief, and her haunting silence in Paris. But what about Jamie? His grief has always been quieter, hidden beneath layers of strength and duty. The man who fought armies, crossed oceans, and endured prison is also a father who never got to hold his first daughter. The Season 8 trailer seems to finally peel back those layers. It's giving us a rare glimpse into Jamie's unspoken sorrow. Jamie doesn't often talk about faith, and that silence says more than words ever could. For Claire, Faith's loss was a wound she could never stop touching. But for Jamie, it became the wound he buried deep, protecting himself from a pain too heavy to carry in the open. And yet in the trailer, there's a fleeting moment where Jamie's eyes tell the story, his lips never do. We see him looking at Claire with such tenderness, but also with an ache that feels almost unbearable. Some fans believe this moment is tied directly to faith, not through a conversation or a name spoken aloud, but through the unspoken understanding that they both still carry her in their hearts. What's striking about Jamie's perspective is how it connects to his role as a protector. Jamie has always been the shield of his family. He fights, he sacrifices, and he bears burdens in silence to keep those he loves safe. But Faith was the one person he couldn't protect.
That kind of loss changes a man.
It shapes him in ways that never truly fade. And though Jamie has gone on to raise Bree, love Fergus as his own, and embrace his grandchildren, there's always been that quiet shadow of daughter who never lived to call him Da. The trailer hints that Season 8 may finally give Jamie a chance to confront this part of himself. There's one scene where he stands in an open field, his hand pressed against his chest as though steadying his own heartbeat. No words, no action, just a man lost in thought. To some, it looks like another moment of reflection on the war ahead. But to others, it feels more intimate, more personal. Could Jamie be thinking of Faith? Could the echoes of that loss be stirring inside him as he faces the final chapter of his life? What makes this possibility so powerful is the way Outlander has always treated Jamie's character. He is not just a warrior or a husband, he is a man of deep emotion, though he rarely shows it openly. When those emotions break through, they shatter us. Think of his tears when he met Bree for the first time. Think of his raw honesty with Claire after years apart. If Season 8 dares to bring faith into Jamie's emotional journey, we may see one of the most moving performances from Sam Heughan yet. And there's another layer. Jamie's legacy has always been tied to his children and grandchildren. He has fought not just for survival, but for the future of the Fraser name. In the trailer, we see flashes of Jemmy, Mandy, and Bree generations carrying the Fraser spirit forward. But how fitting would it be if in these final moments, the daughter who never got to live is also acknowledged as part of that legacy? Jamie's perspective isn't just about grief. It's about love, memory. It's the unspoken truth that even the children who are lost remain part of the family forever. The trailer reminds us of this through subtle choices. The way Jamie looks at Claire when she seems to hear something beyond the present. The way he reaches for her hand, grounding her as if he senses what she is feeling. And the way silence hangs in those moments, heavy with things unsaid. That is Jamie's perspective in a single word: silence. But in that silence lies an ocean of love and grief, waiting for the right moment to surface. Season 8 may finally give Jamie that moment. And if it does, fans should prepare themselves. Because Jamie Fraser, a man who has endured everything, revealing his heartache for faith would not only break us, would remind us why this story has always been about love, loss, and the family ties that never die. Outlander has always been more than a love story. At its heart, it is also a story about time. How it bends, how it echoes, and how it leaves threads connecting lives across centuries. Every season reminds us that time isn't a straight line in this world. It's a circle, a web, a living force that binds people in ways they don't always understand. And when the Season 8 trailer hints at Faith's presence, it opens the door to one of the most fascinating possibilities. Could time itself be allowing her to reach across the veil? We've seen these kinds of mysteries before. The very first episode, Frank saw Jamie's ghost outside Claire's window, a vision that has puzzled fans for years. We've watched Brianna sense danger across time, Roger struggle with visions. In the Stones, and even Jemmy recognize voices that shouldn't exist in his world. Time travel in Outlander is never simple. It's not just about walking through stones and ending up in another century. It's about connections, feelings, and echoes that ripple through generations. And if Faith's voice is truly being heard in the Season 8 trailer, then she may be another echo carried through time, This possibility makes sense in the larger story. Faith, though she lived only briefly, still existed. In a universe where time doesn't erase but bends, could her presence have left a mark? Could her love, however short, still ripple forward into the future? Outlander has already shown us that death is not the end of connection. Spirits appear, visions guide. Love crosses centuries. Why, then, should faith be any different? The trailer seems to tease this idea through its imagery. The whispers that Claire hears do not come from the present. They feel out of place, otherworldly, like they are carried on the wind from another time. There are also flashes of light and shadow in the trailer, visual hints that the boundary between time periods is weakening. Fans have pointed out that these effects look similar to past scenes where time travel played a role. This suggests that Faith's presence may not be purely emotional or symbolic, but tied directly to the strange rules of time in the Outlander universe. And let's not forget the importance of family in these connections. The ability to hear or feel echoes through time often runs in bloodlines. Claire has experienced it, Brianna has felt it, Roger has too. Jemmy, as we saw in earlier seasons, has a strong sensitivity to time. Could Faith, as Claire and Jamie's first child, be part of that same thread? Could her brief life still grant her a place in the web of time, allowing her voice to reach across to her mother when the boundaries are weakest? This theory is both heartbreaking and beautiful. Heartbreaking because it reminds us that Faith's existence was so short and filled with loss. Beautiful because it suggests that no life is ever truly lost in Outlander not, when love and time are so deeply entwined. Faith may not walk among her siblings, but her voice, her essence, could still guide them. And in a final season, where legacy and closure are at the center, this would be the perfect way to bring her back into the story, without undoing the painful truth of her death. The time travel angle also raises an exciting question for fans. What role will Faith play in the story's resolution? If she is indeed connected through time, could her presence be more than just a whisper? Could she serve as a guide, a symbol, or even a warning as the Frasers face their final battles? The trailer doesn't give us clear answers, but it leaves just enough space for these theories to take root. Faith's voice, carried through time, is not just a haunting sound. It is a reminder that the past is never gone, that love and loss echo forever. And in Season 8, as Outlander brings its story full circle, those echoes may finally find their way home. Faith Fraser may have lived only for a moment, but her presence has always been far greater than her short life. She isn't just remembered as Claire and Jamie's first daughter, she has become a symbol. And in a show like Outlander, where every detail carries meaning, Faith's name, her memory, and her story hold layers of symbolism that could play a powerful role in Season 8 to begin with. Her very name, Faith, is not accidental. Faith represents belief in something you cannot see, trust in something larger than yourself, and hope, even in the face of heartbreak. For Claire and Jamie, losing Faith was the darkest chapter of their love story. Yet, in many ways, it also became the moment that defined their strength. Faith's loss forced them to face the fragility of life and the cruelty of fate. But it also tested their ability to hold on to love no matter the pain. Faith, then, is not just a lost child. She is the embodiment of resilience. She is the reminder that even when everything is broken, love remains. The Season 8 trailer leans into this symbolism in subtle but striking ways. Candlelight flickers around Claire as she sits in silence, as if holding on to the smallest flame of hope in the darkness. Children's laughter echoes in the distance, reminding us of life's joys but also of what was lost. Scenes of Jamie watching his family carry on the Fraser legacy are spliced between darker moments of war and grief. All of this builds a picture of balance, the balance of joy and sorrow, of past and future, of love and loss. And Faith sits at the center of that balance. Faith also represents something larger, the cost of destiny. Outlander has always been about choices and consequences, about the way history demands sacrifice from those who live through it. Claire and Jamie's journey has been filled with impossible choices, fighting wars, leaving home, risking everything. For their family, Faith's death was the ultimate cost, a price they paid in their attempt to change history in Paris. And now, in the final season, as the Frasers face their last battles, the memory of that cost returns. Faith reminds us and them that nothing in this world comes without sacrifice. But her symbolism is not just about sorrow. Faith also symbolizes love's ability to endure. Every time Claire looks at Bree or Jamie embraces their grandchildren, there is a quiet echo of faith in the background. She may not be physically present, but her memory shapes the way the Frasers love and protect each other. She is the unseen bond holding them closer. And this is where her presence in Season 8 could carry the deepest meaning, not as a ghost or a literal return, but as a symbol of what the family has endured and why they keep fighting. For fans, Faith has always been the what-if of Outlander. What if she had lived? How would the Fraser family have been different? What would her life have meant? Season 8 cannot rewrite that past, but it can give us closure by showing that Faith's short existence was not meaningless. In fact, it may have been the thread that tied the family together through all the storms. The trailer seems to hint at this through imagery of children, of families gathered, of voices crossing through silence. It's not just about the living, it's about the unseen bonds that hold them all together. Faith, as a symbol, represents that bond. She is the child who never grew up, but who continues to shape the choices, the love, and the destiny of her family. So when we talk about Faith's mystery in Season 8, it's not just about whether she will appear in visions or dreams. It's about what she represents. Love that survives loss, hope that survives despair, and family that survives time itself. And as Outlander reaches its end, Faith's symbolism may become the very heart of the story's final message.